What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Round 2 podcast. And this is your February solo episode recap. What am I up to? What am I doing episode? So here we go. Okay, first of all, can we briefly talk about the fact that February is over? Like, how did that happen? I am seriously baffled by how fast February went by, considering January seemed like it went on forever. Now, I'm sure it's because of two reasons. One, because January always seems to take forever. And two, because I was traveling through the UK. So it must have just like felt longer because I was in so many different places. But it still like blows my mind that February went by in the blink of an eye. But hey, it always does. How come only like a couple of days less in 1 month always makes it feel so fast? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like 2 days. Anyway, let's talk about my podcast guests for February. It was such an exciting month of really, really cool stuff and really cool conversations. Now, one thing I do want to talk about before I dive into the recap is that when the podcast originally started, the original concept of Round 2 was about talking with real people, everyday people, their stories of change, of major life change, whether it was something intentional or something unexpected. There were a lot of really great stories. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have been noticing that I've been posting some different sound bites from some of those original episodes because there's such great things that came out of those. The first season was all audio, so that's why there's just like, some random AI video in the background. But I just think that they're such great episodes. So I'm trying to plug them a little bit more so people can hear some of those who are newer followers to the show. So that being said, in 2024, the podcast really took a turn into entrepreneurship. Now, don't get me wrong. I love entrepreneurship. I love startups. I love everything about all of that. But one of the things that I've noticed is that the time that we're in right now is that everybody is really, really craving relatability and authenticity. And so with telling all of these stories from these amazing people, I'm really trying to get to the core of who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, what drives them, what motivates them, what kind of struggles have they faced in their life, and what is it that they can share with others. Now, oftentimes that does lead to a business venture, which is really, really cool. And though the business piece of it does always come up. But what you will notice is that we're going to be getting a little more real around here. And I'm really excited for it. I've had some really interesting guests that I've already recorded with that'll be coming out next month that I think you're going to really enjoy hearing what they have to say. But let's get into this February recap because these all were some really cool conversations that did have a little more business focus to them. However, they each had some really, really, really great pieces of advice, great thoughts on doing your own thing, great thoughts on things that they've learned and wisdom that they had to share. So the first episode of February was Alli Rizacos. She is so exciting. I found her on LinkedIn. That's another thing you're going to hear me say a lot lately is that like, this is a new guest that I met on LinkedIn, or this is a new friend that I met on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has turned into one of my favorite social platforms. I feel like I've kind of found my little corner there, and I've grown a nice group of people that I get to interact with and that I'm continually learning from. And Alli is one of those people. Actually, almost everybody this month I met on LinkedIn. So that's kind of cool to what's going on in my world. So Alli is an ex-Salesforce gal. She was a salesperson at Salesforce and she pivoted into coaching. She started her career doing imposter syndrome coaching, which at the time she was really one of the only person talking quite a bit about it and coaching people through that feeling of imposter syndrome. And then she pivoted to being a business coach, and she has some great programs. She's been very successful. And it was so enjoyable learning about what drives her and how she got started doing what she's doing, why she got started doing what she's doing, and her plans to continue to grow. The next episode of the month was Alessia Citro. Now, this is so cool. So Alessia is a little younger than me, but she also went to the University of San Diego. She was also in Alpha Phi sorority, and she was also president of Alpha Phi sorority, just like I was. So that is how we got connected, through another ex-Alpha Phi alum. And she is just such a treat. She is a self-proclaimed habit queen. She is all about habits, mindset. She's written a book. She is just so much fun. So that conversation was much more about habits and life and all the good things in between than it really was about business, although she has made coaching people on habits her business. And I think it's super exciting. And it was such a fun conversation. Next up was another LinkedIn friend. Her name is Hurd. And we actually had the opportunity of recording inside AZ Rocket Studios, which is the company that is now editing and producing my episodes. So she lives in Scottsdale. So we met up at the studio and we recorded our episode. And I've got to tell you, it's so interesting because with each podcast with each podcast I do, I learn more and more. I learn more about listening, about asking questions, about myself as an interviewer. And it was really neat to be in the studio and see, how my mannerisms were different, how my body language was different, what I actually was focused on versus what things I wasn't even thinking about. And I can confidently say that I have applied those to the podcast that I've recorded since then. So I think that's pretty neat. We had a great conversation. Kat is a super smart woman. She made a great career for herself in medical device sales. But one of the things that she really paid attention to as she was on her journey there was all of the things that they taught her, but also all the things that weren't taught. So she always had this desire to coach other women, specifically in medical device sales, and help them accelerate their careers faster. So she's taken everything that she learned and everything that she applied for her impressive career and is now coaching other women in medical device and really loving her journey there. So lots of great nuggets about just working for yourself and her interesting journey to get her where she is now. Next up was Mert Iseri. So he is a guy that I met through the Techstars program. He was not in my actual cohort, but he was one of our guest speakers one day. Now, this guy came through and he gave us not one, not two, but 3 different sessions that day. And with each one, it was somehow he had more energy than the last and very well spoken, very sharp, really fun guy. So naturally, I had to ask him to be on the podcast. He's originally from Istanbul, Turkey. So that is really fun because he also is a big traveler. When I was in Istanbul in October, he gave my girlfriend and I tons of advice on restaurants, where to go, what to do, things to eat. So that was super helpful. So I, of course, wanted to talk with him more about his current endeavor, which is a company called 248. They're in the AI space. He is super passionate, but my favorite parts about the conversation, I got to tell you, is learning about what drives him, learning about his passions, learning about his whys. He gave some of the best advice, like literally the way we ended the episode. I asked him a question, he answered it, and I was like, okay, we have to be done. That was so good. We got to call it. It's been an hour and I can't wait for everybody to hear this. So I hope that you had a chance to listen to that one, especially if you are somebody working in the AI space, because it was a lot of cool information there. But also if you just want like a fun story of a, entrepreneur from Turkey that decided to bet on himself, moved to the US, and has created a great career for himself since being here. And then last but certainly not least, another LinkedIn friend. Do you see the theme? Caroline Pennington was on this month as well. She is a LinkedIn coach. She has a marketing business, and we really just sat and shot the shit about LinkedIn, about social media, about like trends that we're seeing, why we think, LinkedIn is kind of the new Facebook, the new Instagram, even though it's been around for a while. You guys, there are 1 billion users a billion users on LinkedIn, yet only 3% of people are actively posting and actively engaging on a regular basis. So if you have something that you want to put out in the world, oh my gosh, start using LinkedIn. If you're looking for a new job, start posting on LinkedIn and talk about all of the things that you've done in your career. I promise you, there are people out there that are looking. There are so many lurkers. People will find you. The right people will find you, and you will be just amazed at how much your circle and your life can change by getting serious about LinkedIn. And then obviously, last but not least, here we are. Look at the sun shining through this window. It was cloudy earlier. So it is the end of February. February is, obviously our shortest month, but it's also one of my favorite months. Why? Because it's my birthday. I celebrate my birthday on February 23rd. I won't lie to you all. I am recording this a few days before my birthday because of editing timelines. So I will say what I am about to do. And what I am about to do is head to Arizona to spend my birthday with my mom and dad. So I'm very excited about that. Also because it's going to be 80 degrees down there. And I love being warm after being cold for so long. But a little bit more catch up. When I recorded my episode in January, I was in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Now, I had planned to head off to Inverness, Scotland, and spend a couple of days there because I really wanted to see those really fun cows. I cannot remember what they're called to save my life right now, but they're those really cute, shaggy cows with the horns. And I wanted to go to the Isle of Skye. Well, the universe had other plans for me because a crazy storm came through that part of the world, and the winds in Belfast the morning that I was supposed to leave were upwards of 40 miles per hour with 80-mile-per-hour gusts. Now, the entire city was shut down. Like, there was nobody anywhere. Like, I looked out the window and it was eerily quiet. And I also thought the windows were going to blow in because the winds were so strong. It was crazy. But my flight had been canceled the day before. So what I had done was I had gone on and I had found another flight that I could get to Inverness that night by having a stop in Bristol, England. Bristol. Yes. I'm like, is that where I went? Yeah, it is where I went. Oh my gosh. But what ended up happening was that the flight to Bristol was very delayed. So by the time I got there, the flight to Inverness had already left. So I go to the counter and I say, hey, I was supposed to be on the flight to Inverness. I obviously missed it. Is there one I could get on tomorrow? They said no. And I'm like, oh, cool. They said the next one isn't until Sunday. And I said, okay, great. Can you bump me to that one? And they said, sure. I said, is there anywhere in Scotland I could get to tomorrow? And they said, no, because every flight had been canceled. So Sunday was my best bet. So I said, great, whatever. I'm going to make the most of it. I will get a hotel in Bristol. I will wander around. And it actually ended up being quite lovely. When you're traveling, you kind of have all of your plans laid out and you're like, I want to see this. I want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to eat this. I want to drink that, all those things. So you're kind of on the go because you only have a limited amount of time in the city that you're in. Well, because Bristol wasn't on my map, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to just relax a little bit. I stayed at the Marriott, which was absolutely lovely. It was in a great part of town and it was so comfortable to me. I traveled a lot for work when I was with Intel. And there was a period of time where I literally was staying at a Marriott hotel once a week for at least 4 nights. So Marriotts are very comforting to me because they smell the same. They have a similar vibe. So I slept great the 2 nights that I was there. And the one full day that I had, I actually walked all over the city, saw so much and really enjoyed myself. So it was quite nice. So then on the Sunday that I'm supposed to fly to Inverness, I get to the airport early. I get all checked in. They call us to our gate. And then after almost everybody is checked in at the gate, they go, oh yeah, just kidding. The plane that was trying to land here, it couldn't land for whatever reason because the winds had picked up again. So it did not come. So they said, okay, everybody go back into the terminal. We'll call you when a plane is here to take you to Inverness. The time got pushed to 2, it got pushed to 3, and then it got pushed to 7 o'clock the next morning. And that's when I was like, you know what? I think I'm not supposed to go to Inverness because that had now been 3 flights that had been canceled or I missed or had been moved. So, I went and got my bag because they were bringing all the bags back to baggage claim. And then I rebooked myself on a flight to Edinburgh and spent the week in Edinburgh. And what a magical city. It is literally like being in a fairy tale. It's so just gothic looking and so romantic and so old and colorful at the same time. It was like dark, but it was colorful. It was so cool. I had so much fun. I literally walked all over. I saw almost every possible thing that's on a list of must see in Edinburgh, whether it was the Princess Gardens, Greyfriars Cemetery, the Edinburgh Castle. Oh my God, that castle. And I'm not like the biggest history lover. That castle was so fucking cool. I had such a wonderful time there. I got my hair done, which is like so random, but it was also great. And I did a really cool photo shoot. Oh my God, you guys, when I tell you how fun this photo shoot was. So I don't even know where I was along the way, but I had seen this TikTok from this company called Main Character Club, and it was in Edinburgh, and they do these main character photo shoots. And the whole premise is like, you're the main character of your life and we want to capture you in the moment. And I was like, fuck yes, this sounds so fun and right up my alley. So I sent them I filled out their interest form. I said, hey, these are the dates I'm going to be here. If we can make something work, I would love it. They had an opening. It was literally the day before I was going to leave. And I was like, this is so meant to be. Let's do it. I met the photographer at 9 a.m. Now, here's what I didn't really think through. I didn't think through that it was literally 30 degrees and that was the high. And I didn't think through that I also wasn't going to be completely bundled up during said photo shoot because obviously I didn't want a bunch of pictures with me in a beanie and the puffer jacket that I had on in literally every other selfie that I had posted throughout the month. When I tell you that I was chilled to the bone, my hands were numb, my feet were numb, my skin was numb. I mean, obviously I was wearing clothes, but like my skin through my clothes was numb. When we were done, I walked back to the hotel. One of the coolest things about the hotel, if you're going to Edinburgh, I stayed at the Virgin Hotel. It was 10 out of 10. I could not speak higher of the people that work there, of the location, the rooms. Everything was just so perfect. The bedding, the sheets were so soft. The bathroom floors were heated. So when I tell you, I get back to the room, I take off everything that I had on. I immediately put on like thermal leggings, like a thermal top, a sweater, wool socks, a beanie that had been outside with me, a different one. And I laid down on the warm bathroom floor. I probably was down there for a good 30 minutes, just warming myself back up and getting ready to go explore the rest of the day. But it was so much fun. I had such a good time. And I've only seen a few of the photos. The rest of them hopefully will be coming by the time this podcast is live. And then I can post some because it was just such a treat. So January was definitely one for the record books. I highly recommend traveling in January because it's the longest month of the year, no matter what. So it certainly felt like it was a lot longer than 31 days, considering we have other months that are 31 days too. So anyway, that's that. That is the wrap for my update for January and for February. And thank you all so much for being a listener, for being engaged, for, enjoying the podcast. Please always remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. A review on Apple Podcasts would mean the world if that is the app that you're listening in. And if for some reason you're a YouTube person, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel because that really helps too. So thank you so much and we will see you next time.